There it is, the official recording. I remember in the past, in the beginning of this year, I used to press that button. I used to go like, it's like raising your hand. It's like, oh, the button's on. So I've come a little ways from then, and you have arrived. You're in the Kind Mind community room, and I'm so grateful you're here. And my name's Kelly Mabel, and I'm here with friends today, people that I know from across the oceans, from past through the lands, downwards, upwards, whether it's west coast, east coast, north or south. We come and we come to listen to other friends share the message of hope and understanding and love. And today's no different. Today, I'm really excited because I have friends in kind over here to my well on my screen they're to my left, but my dear friends Carolina and Wayne, uh, just so grateful to have you here, so grateful to have everybody here during this busy Christmas season, and the fact that we're making time to come together and to share the principles and share our message. So just to begin, I go back in time. I go back to 2018, and I remember a beautiful, beautiful face, very colorful, full of life, with so much light, coming to me amidst a very busy convention in London, and that was the 3P UK. And it was my first visit to London, and I came on my own, and with much trepidation, fear, anxiety, and all those things that we carry, which are misunderstandings, I had them all in my suitcase. And I walked through that door, and this light being of love came running at me, maybe halfway through the program, as we started to share our beautiful energy together. And at that time, Wayne was in there in spirit, but actually I didn't meet Wayne at that time. It took the beautiful internet and the globe of love and well-being to bring us together. Hey, Wayne. And I got to see the two of them because they did as I did. There was a time when they had some stillness and an insight popped in, and Caroline said it was like, yes, this is what we're doing. And so, like me, they began a beautiful room, how to connect with humans. And unlike this room, there was the two of them. They were double dipping and bringing their love and light to the principles, but to the world, to the globe. And so they built that, and they've been sharing their love and their light for quite some time now. And this year, they said yes to sharing it here. And I'm so glad to have them, because when I was in that conference in 3P, I was a volunteer, and I thought that was the best way to meet people, and easily seen that it was. And Carolina was sharing this purpose and process that she had had on for listening and for seeing others. Yet she had one other job that she probably, unbeknownst to her, she was doing really, really well. And that was the camera woman. So Carolina was running around with her camera taking pictures of everybody anywhere and everywhere within the conference. And so it was easy to connect with her and meet her and see her. And I remember this love and light being showing up and asking me to be part of her picture taking and part of her experience. And it was a joy to meet you then, and it's a joy to have you now. So please welcome to the room, Carolina and Wayne.
Oh, Kelly. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Um, I was so welling up already.
I know.
All right. So thank you so much for having us here. We love you dearly. As we were saying, it was interesting because Kelly was saying what how she felt when she came to London, and how you were telling us, like, you tried to come 3 or 4 times. It cost you, in some countries you can buy a house probably with that money, just because your anxiety wouldn't let you just get there. What I remember, and what made me run across the room to say hello, was that I remember you coming in with this presence and this beautiful heart, this light, this hunger for connection. It was like, no, it's like you just see, I don't know, it's like, I don't know if you just see for the time at the moment, it's like, Father Christmas is on the other side of the room, and you just ran to Father Christmas. Like, that's what I saw. It's like a child. It's like, oh my God, that's my friend. I don't know her name, but we're gonna be friends, and she's lovely. And we haven't even said hello by then, and it was great. So funny enough, that was Wayne's first ever London conference, and that conference was, slightly short probably of 1,000 people, if we haven't got to 1,000 at that point, but online and with everything we were over 1,000. But in that room, in the conference, it was an ocean of people either being at the beginning or in the middle or wherever they were in the journey around the principles and their understanding, or so. And what was funny, was sharing this before, is that just before that, it had been the month of mental health awareness, at least here in the UK. I can't remember if it was a global thing or was just here. And is it Gary Gillings? I never say
Jerry Gillings.
Jerry Gillings. I always say the name the other way around. So sorry. I always pronounce your name wrongly, but beautiful woman, lovely friend. She said, look, I would like to do this thing, whether, if you don't mind, whatever spare time you have, I want to create this campaign called #We're Listening. And all it takes is that you sit somewhere that they will let you, you ask your local cafe or at the park, and you just sit down and you just put this sign saying, I am listening. So it's free. Just feel free to share whatever. We're not going to do any coaching. We're not going to, we're going to listen. And part of that campaign, because when we bought the T-shirt, we also were chipping in for the charity, was this black T-shirt that said #We're Listening. So we were both part of that, and we decided to go on the first day of the conference. All the people that came to the conference that also did it, to put it on so we could have a picture together. But funny enough, many people thought we were volunteers for the conference. So soon enough, they were like, oh, do you know where the bathrooms are? Or do you know where Deacon Bettinger is going to be talking next? And, we like to help. So, yeah, of course. But I didn't realize that the T-shirt was sort of like, that the I'm listening was doing that. And again, what Kelly's describing about capturing the feeling of the conference, really, in other places called stalking people. At the conference, they're so lovely that, everybody's like, oh, yeah, let's have a picture. You just take these. The feeling is, you can't describe the feeling, right? You can't describe the feeling of connection. For Wayne, it was the first. I was like, you're not gonna believe this 3 days. It's gonna be like. I was like, yeah, all right, So there you were.
I think for me, it was more, as Kelly was saying before we came onto this call, she was quite apprehensive and anxious about what to expect. And I think I was the same. But as Kelly was saying as well, that as soon as she arrived at the door, it kind of just fell away. And for me, that happened as well. And even to a point where I can't even remember what happened. I can't remember those 3 days, and they are quite intense. But I remember coming away on all of those days thinking, something's in this, because it was literally at the real start to my journey. And I just remember thinking, just follow it. Come back tomorrow and just listen. Because in my head, I was trying to work out what this was. And then now, you know, years later, you don't need to. And it's an incredible feeling just to kind of go into that conference and just be with friends.
Yeah.
Friends from all over the world we didn't even know.
Yeah.
Friends that energetically, you know, from across the room were feeling the pull to come and talk to. Yeah. Yeah.
We have these little, you know, little puzzle here of beautiful faces of people we love so much. And then there's other people that you have to try to remember if we met or not, because soon enough it takes you just a few seconds to start feeling familiar and start feeling that, oh, they're part of your or family. You know, it's so many people that are here tonight. We're so grateful. They have been such an important part of our journey. So we're saying with Kelly, it feels that we probably are in conversation with Kelly way more times than we probably are. But that connection, that just a message here and a thing there, and we come into the call, or she's coming in to listen to something, or she comments into, or she shares, or we're at the conference and she's volunteering, and then she's presenting the next thing, and we are also volunteering and helping and working. And so it feels that Kelly has been in a life for way so much longer than in probably the amount of hours, days that we can say. Which, going back to how to connect with humans, for me was a total discovery that this brings you a level of quantity in connection, a level of feeling at home with people, that it can happen so fast in such an intense way, change completely what I understood of what the relationship with people was. We have, you know, here we have like, I don't want to not name somebody, but, you know, it's like, for example, Philip and Nicholas, we have become, they're brothers. We have never met in person, right? We met through the series. They invited us to their series. Nicholas is going like that on his treadmill. And they're brothers. I mean, I can't, I know more about Philip's dogs than I know probably about my actual brother in Argentina's, you know, kids. I you know, have more daily info. And there's people that maybe we talk once, twice, 3 times. We just look at each other and we are now smiling and my heart is full. My heart is full. There are some people that, since we say, "Hi, man," and you know who you are because you look at us, "Hi, man," and start like, and we started joking. In the first moment of like, you know, of like coming to, you know, like one of the groups at the conference of doing socials or whatever. It's like we knew each other forever, and we can start making the most ridiculous jokes with each other and laugh our socks off because you know because we can do that with Mark, obviously. So
Mark is one of those people that I also met. Carolina and I both met, as well as Wayne, at the conference. And Mark and I met on the stairwell. Like there was like we were talking, and it was, you know, you just get talking to people, and you go to these places where, like you said, Wayne, you lay the stuff down. Like I said, I was carrying a garbage bag of misunderstanding all the way there. And when I got to the door, it was like I just took the garbage bag and put it over there and said, "Kelly, if you want to pick that up on your way back out, you go ahead. But while you're inside." And so it changed the energy. So when I met Mark, we were like BS, and I don't know about anybody else, but when you're in a big conference like we were in and where we were, there's these stairwells or elevators, you know, and you can wait 10 minutes for the elevator, or you just run the stairwell. And so Mark and I met on the stairwells, yapping away, and he also was volunteering as well. So, yeah. What say you, Mark? Gonna put it on gallery.
All I can really say is, you know, enough love goes out to you all. You know, you guys are all amazing. You make me feel always welcome, and I'm just grateful to be part of this, part of life itself, and the learnings and the teachings of life. Because without this teaching, for me, my bag would still be heavy. So it's definitely lighter, and you know, just seeing you guys, Wayne, Caroline, it's just like you know, just so much memories. It's beautiful memories as well, and this is like what Caroline was saying. It's like the baggage lets go when I'm seeing you guys. Everything's gone. Everything's gone out the window. It's like home, family. You know, you know, soul to soul. You know, and that's the beauty of it for me. See, so yeah, you know, you guys are awesome anyway. As you know, as you all know, you all individually are awesome.
Exactly. So I want to ask a question of the both of you. Thanks for sharing, Mark. You know, prior to the principles, we were all living through the principles. We were all living with the principles because they've never been separated from us. But prior to the understanding of seeing more, as Sid was pointing us in that direction, what was going on, and then what is the difference now? Did I get you?
Before the principles, I can't even remember it, to be honest. I was somebody that was in my own head, as many people are before they come across this. But I had so many stories about myself, and because I've got cerebral palsy, I had so many ideas and understandings about that, and how that led to my childhood and my upbringing and things like that. And then when I came across the principles, it was kind of, I can drop all that. And one of the massive insights I had was, I don't have to be Wayne. Wayne's just a label. Wayne doesn't have a disability. Wayne has ability.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
How can I say anything else?
I know.
Oh, before the principles, really something that many people say. It was like an eternal quest of finding myself, the eternal quest of the next thing, about working on me, making myself better. The idea that it wasn't good enough, that I was so intrinsically broken, wrong. I have to keep trying to show that I was worth loving and try my best not to win the battle for other people, to tell me that maybe I was crazy, irreversibly, that and it was going to get worse. So I used to live my life trying to do things and trying to make myself useful and lovable, just so that people wouldn't, hopefully, when they see all my flaws and all my broken bits, they will still want to keep me.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you get a puppy from the pound and then you realize that this thing just breaks apart, that's what I felt. And when I just by mistake, I came to a workshop for a weekend with Ian Watson, thinking it was something to do with homeopathy. Didn't read the description. I just really liked what he was doing, so I just came to the workshop in London, and with a very dear friend. And in the first 5 minutes, he said, "So I'm going to talk about this, and this is what it is." It took him probably 10-15 minutes, and then he said, "Well, if you got it, you can go home now. That's it. I'm going to keep repeating myself for the rest of the weekend in different ways, again and again and again, until you sort of get it." And that was probably at $200-300 at that point. For me, there was a fortune, Kelly. For me to put that together was like, I was furious. I
was just going to ask you, what was your thinking on that?
This idiot has got me here thinking that I was going to talk about all that amount of amazing knowledge, like, this beautiful mind he is, and he comes out blabbing this stupidity. This it's just so simple that is ridiculous.
Of course, the key question here is, how long did you stay?
I nearly didn't. But I was with my friend, so which was Wayne, my dear friend Jo, and she was like, oh. So we go for the first break, and she's like, oh, this is the answer to everything. This is the Holy Grail. And I was like, oh God. Yeah, Jo, she's lovely. She's lovely. But got a bit cowboyed by this guy that, well, is probably having a bit of a meltdown. I don't know. And then we go for lunch. And so I sit next to Ian and I say, look, I'm really interested about all the other stuff you were doing. I would like to do some translations to Spanish and maybe learn more about that. oh yes, it's all yours. He didn't know me. Yeah, you can have everything if you want. I won't use it anymore ever.
What was you thinking of that? What did you say it to yourself?
If I thought he had lost it, then it was just like really.
It's confirmation.
Yes, I thought, well, I might as well, go and keep going with what he left there that was useful, because he's going to go into this direction of La La Land, that is poor guy. But somebody has to keep going with what he was doing before, because that was really useful. So that night I was honestly so annoyed. I didn't know if I could actually turn up the next day. And by the next day, I remember on Sunday, I was really tired, really, really tired. Which somehow we know that is a good sign, especially sometimes it takes your ego that amount of time to sort of give this tiny window to tiny little bit, just for that light to get through, and that's enough. And it was nearly the end of the day, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's nice, but I can't see it working in real life. It's not. And we're working. This was a beautiful place in London, and there's a great park. And so we're walking and talking with my friend, and I was nibbling some almonds from my pocket, and this squirrel climbs my leg at my, at this almond, this nut on my hand, and I look at it, and I just, okay, so I give it to it, and it goes down, and then gets in and goes, climbs again, and looks at me and says, okay, next. So I give it another one, and goes down, and then comes up, and then realizes that I have them in my pocket, so starts like putting the head and the whole, into, and getting some and going down, and this repeats about at least 10 times for sure. And me and my friend were looking at each other going like, what's going on here? Like, they're not that tamed, okay? They're not that, I don't know, like in Central Park, but here they're not that tamed, like they do that. It's not that common.
No.
So and I'm like, I love animals. Like, I just open up completely to animals. I don't have any resistance usually to animals, so that was like, I absolutely love this. And I said to my friend that the trust of this little animal, the trust, just coming and trusting me, and it keeps doing it. I could probably stay here and it will keep doing it. And my friend looked at me and she said, maybe it's all about trust. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. That hit home. That went down like the Berlin Wall, like all my, didn't see everything. It wasn't like huge inside, but it was my ego surrendered big time. And it took me time. It wasn't that I came back home and it was like, it took me time to understand what actually happened. So I'm always very, I always feel a lot of love, and I understand how long sometimes it could be the process of hearing something like this, and then have the courage to open up for something so simple to come in and turn your world completely upside down. For what you believe to know and understand, for something to help you see that, okay, you can keep living thinking you're broken, not deserving of love, disabled, different, disconnected, or you can see what it seems to be the truth, that we're all fine. We are all at the core safe, unbroken, full of possibilities. Do you want to have your heart's content? It's not easy to say yes. When you spend your whole life thinking, accommodating to a life where you should compensate for all the shortages of what you would never have. That's a process of a decade now. And Ian decided to do a group on Mondays. He's moved closer here. A beginner's course of a few hours on a Mondays in a cafe. And the other day I found myself, after doing years of training with him afterwards, thinking, I really fancy going to that first talk again. I really fancy knowing that I'm beginning every day, that I can hear something new. I love that little sparkle when people see this. So that for me is what will carry us all, no matter what. No matter how many times this incredible COVID virus that I have to say, whatever your vision of it is, I admire the thing. The intelligence, the resilience. This conversation we are having with the pandemic. Well, we're going to do this. Oh, then they started with a few letters of the Greek alphabet. Now we are already an Omicron. So, it's amazingly, we have to think on our feet. We have to change things. We all take our whatever is how we see it. We don't see it. We want vaccinations. We don't want vaccinations. We want quarantines, no quarantines. This is what's going to take us to the next level of whatever it is, in the conversation, in the connection, on surviving or not, or the the current conversation of having the people that are vaccinated or they're not vaccinated, or they're like, we should do what the government says, we don't want to do with it. What does that do to what I think about people and how I consider my dear close friends? That's an amazing challenge for me at the moment. How much can I see behind the form of our different thinking or our similar thinking to keep saying, you know what, behind whatever we really believe, want to decide, I still love you dearly. I respect your opinion. What a challenge that is, Kelly.
Mhm. Mhm. What say you, Wayne?
I think for me, it's just it doesn't matter whether you agree with the vaccinations or not, or the lockdowns or not, quarantines or not. It's like you said, it's behind that. It's the essence of who we are. All that is just noise. For me, it doesn't matter whether someone's been vaccinated or not, because we're in this world together. And for me, what I've seen is we all help each other out. I remember when we were locked down in the UK the first time, and there was different categories of people with vulnerabilities and disabilities and things like that. And it was the supermarkets basically saying, oh, we can get you a slot if you want to do online shopping and things like that, you know, and kind of going into categories like, well, you'll have better priority if you've got a disability or you're elderly or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was just thinking, okay, that's great, but what about everyone else? And the amount of people that literally you had people on Facebook kind of going out of their way to help other people in the community, getting shopping if they needed it. You know, you may not even know this person. And yet, for me, what's a shame is that it takes a pandemic for people to come together, communities to come together. We're in this world, we're in this life once. So for me, it's just, it's live it how you want to live it, but also treat people how you want to be treated and enjoy it.
Mhm.
Or at least that's our take. I don't know. You can say it takes a pandemic to completely separate everybody and have different opinions, and you know, but we're not, you know, we're not saying yeah, pandemic, but we were talking with you, Kelly, before, and it was, my heart is not in the same place as where it was in 2018.
Mhm.
When things now reopened, and you know, they're probably about to close down again, but now this period of reopening and trying to go back, and we realized that something shifted. Something shifted. Something is not the same. you go back to try to do the same job you were doing, to the same place, something has changed. And we can't put a finger on what it is. And we literally have to pause our series now for a few months, because we are trying to give ourselves the time to not know, to get out of the busyness and just find our way again and see what it brings for us. And it's uncomfortable.
I think for me, it's always been I wanted to know what's the next step throughout my life. And now with this pandemic, it's kind of, and everything within the community, within the three principles, I've kind of had to let go of that. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I always used to be the kind of person that I was always looking for the next thing. You know, oh, okay, if I have a new car, then I'll be happy with that. And then soon after, I'll be like, oh, I don't like this car anymore. When can I get another one? And for me, it's what I've come to realize. And there are times where I do get stuck back into it, but what I've come to realize is that I'm just happy with what I've got. I'm happy in this moment. I'm happy in this moment being in this call with all of you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter about what's going to come tomorrow, whether we are locked down or not. I mean, I remember saying to Carolina the other day, I was like, you know what? I've become so busy again that I wouldn't mind another lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that's my opinion, but for me, I saw so much beauty in being locked down. Now, I know that's going to sound really weird, but I managed to just stop. And it was, I remember one instance really, and I remember waking up one morning thinking, right, what am I going to do today? And then I remember thinking, I'm not going to do anything. And I remember looking outside and just seeing the beauty of everything. And I remember seeing blue skies, sun beaming in through the window. And I don't think I'd seen that much beauty in a while. And the amount of wildlife that we were seeing, the amount of birds that were coming out, because the whole world just stopped. For me, it just kind of, it was a real wake-up call to what we're doing to this planet. We all just need that time just to stop. And for me, it kind of gave me a chance to kind of think, right, what do I want to do now with my life? And it's like I was saying to you, Kelly, I'm a driving instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm even thinking of leaving that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just had the time to just kind of go, you know what? Yes, I enjoy it. But is this really what I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Not really. And I've been doing it for over 10 years now. And it was kind of, okay, what do I want to do now? But it's, what I also saw was the fact that it doesn't have to be set in stone. you know, I could be a driving instructor today, and I could be working for 3P UK tomorrow. It doesn't have to be a scheduled thing. I could wake up tomorrow and write a book.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no writer, but you know, it's that freedom. Rather than kind of thinking, right, okay, I'm in this job, I have to go and work 9 to 5, or whatever, and I'm in prison. It doesn't have to be like that. And I think when we were doing our series and we started like at the start of lockdown, for me it was a chance just to share that space and share what was happening with us at the time. And there were times where I did struggle through lockdown, because I was thinking, okay, so because I'm self-employed, where am I going to get the money from to pay for things? But what I've come to realize recently and through this is that, you know what, something that's bigger than what I am knows. Something's got my back. I don't need to know where I'm going to get the money, because it will just come.
What has become really funny at the moment, and I think you probably all will probably sympathize with this, is future planning. It's cream pie on the face for us at the moment. It's like, it really, I mean, I did, you know, between us, you know, just here, don't tell everybody. I knew that knowing the principles, like, you know, it's like, well, the future doesn't exist, the past doesn't exist, we are only in the present. But, you know, we could book flights to go on a holiday in 6 months. And I thought, come summer, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. I thought future planning, no, it was sort of like a thing. And now we cannot plan the next 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot plan tomorrow. It was like, oh, we're going to Birmingham on the weekend to see your friends. Yay! I've got a chest infection, and then it looked like COVID, and then I was pinged by the app, so I have to go and do a PCR. At the same time, one of our friends we're going to see, part of our family, also got pinged, have to do a PCR. We're like, oh, so we have to make a decision, we have to wait. PCR is, I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but it's like the one that has to go to the lab to be checked, and then you get the information. And so we have to make a decision between, you know, we haven't seen each other in a really long time, we really miss them. Okay, it was like, well, maybe if it comes in the next half hour, or maybe we'll do this, or maybe no. And we have to go, okay, I'll give up. I give up. Every single thing that we're trying to plan at the moment is pie on the face. It doesn't exist, Carlina. It's like, what do you want to plan now? Let's see. Well, I would like to go to the supermarket tomorrow. Okay, pie on the face. I would like to go see my family I haven't seen in 2 years in Argentina. Pie on my face. All right. We'll have to see as we go, shall we? But as you said, Kelly, it's like the principles didn't happen when I knew about them, when I realized they existed. Yeah. They've always been there. It's that I didn't understand how things work. So again, a decade later, me being a newbie, I'm learning that future planning, it's good to, try to organize things, and it's good for everybody that we can say, oh, we'll have a conference in June or something, and then we all meet there, hopefully, but that the certainty, the reality of that planning is always an illusion.
Mhm.
It always been. But now for us, and for me in particular, it's like everything I try to say, because I want to take control of something.
Yeah.
I want to feel that I'm in control.
Yeah.
And every time, so, the wisdom of the universe is just like, okay, this is going to be funny. Here she comes again, trying to plan something.
Yeah. Well, they say that one of the old sayings is, if you want to make God, life force, essence of all things laugh, make a plan. Because our best laid plans, for the most part, as you say, they're not up to us. There's so many variables now, and the other thing that I think you're pointing to, and COVID is been literally pointing us in that direction too, is that there is a deeper understanding to be considered as we are in that space of COVID. It's creating us to think deeper or differently or in another direction, because a lot of what COVID brought, nobody had ever incurred. And so, we're sitting down making those deeper decisions. Do I want to see my friends? And I loved what you said. Is that, this isn't about COVID. It isn't about whether you're, infected or not, or you have, struggles within the COVID situation or not. It's about what we see behind all things. And you said it's like love. These humans, these circumstances, everything that we're dealt with, whether it be COVID or not, behind all of it is us just making our way. As Sid would say, with your current understanding, we make our way moment to moment. And Wayne, your view of the world, like I saw that too. Getting that much stiller. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, some of the rewards of my efforts. I built a garden during COVID, 8 years in the same home, never built a garden ever. And here's my garden, and right now I'm looking at we're not allowed to have birds in the yard. We're not allowed to feed the birds. I'm a bit of a rule breaker. Nobody knows that, don't tell anybody. And so I've got this plastic container hidden like it's garbage in my yard. And it's full of birdseed. And right now I'm staring out the window at about 30 birds. And it's been a different view. A view of the world I never saw before.
It's beautiful to see when you, in the midst of what looks like horrendous situation, which we're not, none of us, I know, is diminishing the impact and how hard is hit humanity during this time. It's nearly 2022, we're in December 2021. So but what seems to come as something for us to take is, can you guys love what looks like separation? My cat is here having her say. So I don't know if that's a yes or a no. We're gonna have to test it. But can you love what seems to have a different idea, a different agenda? Can you love and accept and take and try to understand what seems to you like a threat? That's at the essence.
Mhm.
That's at the essence, because pandemics, racism, cultural differences, this is at the essence of that.
Mhm.
So we close the borders in the countries to now protect people, but at the same time it looks like, oh, but now I can't go see my loved ones. So can we learn to we're all absolutely entitled to our opinions, and that's a good thing for my liking.
Mhm.
I want our table to be filled with people that we can have a good talk about things that maybe we don't agree about.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it's very easy to love people that you think the same about things.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's very difficult to try to surround yourself only with people that see things in the way you do, because nobody does really.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking when you were talking there, this is what often happens is I get lost in in thoughts of things as you speak, and I may not be alone in that. But you know, I remembered, like I said, when I laid down all of my anxieties and my trepidations and what the hell am I doing, and I put them in that garbage bag and laid them down at the door, and I walked in. Um, it wasn't. We didn't connect because you had red hair and I had blonde hair at the time. I had more hair at the time. We didn't connect because you took the shot and I chose something else. We just connected like we're all connecting here. We just had a natural truth, a truth without misunderstanding, without anything on it. We just had a neutrality around this person and that experience and this way to go and up the staircase to meet Mark Harris and over left to take a photo. There was no thinking on it. And so, yeah, I just, you know, what happened, what was really a gift for me is I changed jobs before COVID, not so long before COVID, but I changed jobs and I quit my job in 2018 at the end of COVID after being at that conference. And although my job be it very similar, I was a hairdresser before I was a coach. And 6 years ago, um, you know, I had some thinking, you know, on what I could do, where I could go, right? And I just had a miss of train. I'm going to out myself. I just lost my train of thought there. Let me get back to that for a second. Um, why was I telling you that? Sometimes this happens. Anyway, oh, I know why. So I never did a job in computers. Never. I never had anything but my hands on beautiful heads. They were up here in the air all day long. And then I made the change to job and I was really scared because the computer scared me. But I took that on step by step, little by little, press that button, go escape here, do this, whatever it was. And what came to me when COVID hit was I was asked to be the tech for a Zoom room. I was able to open up like you, like Wayne, use other skills. I was able to embrace, you know, the learnings that I had before to be able to say, well, Kelly, if you look this direction, you could actually open a Zoom and you could bring community together and we could do this across the world because There's no limits. It's just love. You know, no pandemic will stop the human heart, right? We're just gonna send out, and so thus came your room, how to connect with humans, breaking all the COVID rules and everything that ever was standing in our way. There we were, celebrating people and their message of love and seeing difference. And there I was in a idea of like, well, let's just use the computer. Who knew? And who knew I would be that? Who knew I would be, using a computer? And somebody said, oh, look at you being all techie. Because they never knew me like that before. They only knew me in what I was, right? But here was this opportunity, both of us, all of us here, you, myself, and everybody else. Some of you never used Zoom before COVID. You didn't even know what the hell Zoom was. If you were like me, I didn't know Zoom either. I knew, God, can I even remember the name of the platform? It wasn't Skype, it was another one. And it was a teaching platform because I taught online for college. And I was like, well, I can zoom. I just look in a little direction, right? And bang, we were again just meet across the room. It was the same energy, just a different form. I was just, looking at you in your Hollywood Square across the room from me. And someone beautiful said to me, Kelly, this is the wisdom of the rooms. This is where somebody, Carolina and Wayne at this point, looked in a small direction somewhere else when trouble and misunderstanding was happening in the world. And they said, no, we're going to open how to connect with humans. And this is what we're going to do. And we're going to feel that energy across the room to someone else. Just like we began together, you and I. And so there's nothing stopping what is ever present within us. What is ever present is that, human who, stumbles all the time, can't maybe see for the likes of misunderstanding, carries the garbage bag, I carried the garbage bag this year right up to the day I press open room, and I just lay it all down. And then we get to be here with beautiful people like Wayne and Carolina, opening rooms, opening doors, opening minds. Okay, enough of me, enough of us. What about the room? Let me turn on to gallery. Yeah, let's go on to gallery. So here we are. We're sitting across from you in your room, and we're zooming. And I'm curious what anybody here has to see, or what energy. How about what energy everybody's carrying today? Anybody want to share the energy they're carrying today? Or anything that's in your heart?
Kelly, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. The man in gray.
Of course.
He's gray all the way.
It's the
Just to say, Carlina and Wayne, it was a pleasure to witness your beautiful energy together and hear you talk. And I mean, much of what you say I resonate with very strongly. I think, Wayne, if you did write that book, I would buy it, But where you're pointing to, I think both of you in different times of your talk, about being comfortable in the unknown, it's also where I'm at the moment. And it struck me yesterday, I was in Barnes and Noble here in Virginia, and I'm not used to bookstores that big, being from Central Ireland. But it struck me that in some ways the chips are stacked against us because there's so much content telling us how to fill that void of the unknown. I mean, the personal development space in Barnes and Noble alone was like a food court in Nairobi. It was very busy, very populated. And I think what I got from your beautiful words here today was it's always okay to be in the unknown.
Mhm.
And that's been my experience. And flexing that trust muscle, as Carlina talks about as well. I think it was just a beautiful reminder. So I just wanted to jump in and say that. And I wish you both a very Merry Christmas.
Mhm.
Oh, so to you.
Thanks, Thomas. Hi,
So
Susan.
nice to see you. And Thomas and Kerry are two that are waiting in the unknown for us to resume our series and bring them in, because you both beautifully said, yeah, of course we will be in the series. And so
Yeah.
thank
Yeah. Thanks, Thomas. Susan, my beautiful Susan.
Hello, thank you, Caroline and Wayne and Kelly again. Oh my gosh. Kelly, I love the metaphor you use as this garbage bag of misunderstanding. That's just, wow, so beautiful. And Carolina, when you're talking about opening up just that little window in the ego and just, that little bit of surrender. And I was thinking every morning I wake up and I've got my bag full of garbage. And, I maybe lots of people wake up like that, but all that anxiety. And then, but you've just inspired me just when I first start becoming conscious in the morning, just open up that little window, just surrender, right? Just surrender. And just feel the freedom and joy in letting go, of my past, my future, my planning, whatever, and just feel that. And then, Wayne, when you're talking about sort of just looking out the window and being present, and it happened to me yesterday, and I looked out and it had been really frosty and the trees had all these little droplets that were starting to melt, and the sun was shining. They're quite glimmery, little tiny wind, and they were just, the drops were moving ever so slightly but not falling, and it was like the forest was full of twinkling lights. And I'm going, what, how is this possible? And it was really quite magical. And I thought, wow, if I hadn't taken the time just to be still and be in the now, I would have missed that moment. And it was just so magical. I'm going, thank you, whatever, thank you, universe. So so I'm quite new to the principles. I was introduced by Kelly and Pamela, but I think maybe every morning I'm going to be able to open up that window in my ego a little bit bigger, and just get more of this understanding. It's just beautiful. And thank you again, Kelly, for having these rooms and for all these people. It's just beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
you so
Thank-
much. You're doing way more than I've been able to do. So, so thank you for that beautiful reminder. Because probably tomorrow morning I'll be thinking of Susie and going like, remember that thing about looking through the window and see what is there? That Susie said. I'll do that.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? We take it for granted that it's always going to be there. And I know I've now kind of stopped myself in a sense of just taking even a few minutes every day just to kind of just be at peace with myself.
Mhm. Mhm. I just sit in this space. It's so seldom during the day, but just sitting with you all, just looking at your faces and knowing you're from all over the world, just fills me. So how about is there anyone who has a burning desire to share? Any last words? Something that's in your heart? If not, I thought it'd be a nice thing to do to maybe just in the chat, just write a word, phrase, or something you're feeling as we leave the room today. Just something that might make you feel or be able to share what your inner feelings are from today. And then we'll be able to take all of that with us. All these 15 beautiful words with us into our day and carry them into next week. Carolina and Wayne, it was way too long getting reconnected. Way too long. And it's a joy to be able to trade rooms and put you in the limelight of what you've offered the world in so much service and kindness and love. Really, it's been a really a beautiful experience to be here today. And for all of, there's Mark. Mark, go ahead.
Hello. Yes. Hello, everyone. Some of what just keeps coming up for me and keeps playing in my mind. So I just thought I'd just say instead of sharing it in the chat, was that it's beautiful to know that there is rubbish in the bag. Because when you don't know there's rubbish in the bag, then you cannot find the peace. You get caught up in it so much. I've been there. So now that I know the rubbish is there, I'm aware that I can pick it up and put it down.
Yeah.
And I've put it down now. So I just wanted to share that with everyone because it just makes such a difference.
I love that, Mark. I love it because, at least for me, I think Wayne's been a lot better place, but especially these past few months, and especially the past few weeks, been like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I should know better. I have all this understanding. Come on, Carolina, I should know better. And it's just, I've been dancing around with rubbish bags. And occasionally, as you say, I put it down and I go like, oh, wow, this feels different. This is so good. And then again, I'm like, oh, what's going on? What happened? So I love that you're saying that, Mark, because I would never want to come here and tell something that is not what I'm seeing currently. What I'm seeing currently is that there's way more time that I've been spending with the rubbish bag around than in the presence of the beautiful things that I'm not seeing. But that's part of, what's part of my journey now, right now. So thank you.
No, you're welcome. I think as you say that what's coming up is always remember we're born to survive and we're always loved. And we're loved by nature, God, source, whatever anybody wants to call it, that's what we're loved by because we're born to survive. So if we're born to survive and don't get in the way of thinking how we're going to survive, we'll just survive. Right?
Oh, I love you.
And hi, Wayne. We'll miss you out.
Do you know what I think is so cool about this? Is you literally look at this room and you realize that we've been together for a while. The people that are here, have been together for a while. Here and in Wayne and Carolina's room. And you know what? That says a lot for for everything that we're doing. It says so much. So much. It's our humanness to pick up that garbage bag every once in a while. carry it around, rummage through it. So it's nice to
I've
know.
been here for so long, Kelly.
Yeah.
Nicholas has done a whole workout, has had a shower, now change and all clean, and that's how long also we have been.
Yeah, you guys were even in the shower with me.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Different ways of getting clarity. So
Yeah.
Well, everybody, it's with love and light and an open heart that I wish you a very Merry Christmas. As you know, some of you may know and may not know that I'm closing the physical year with a conversation for my delivery and for the ears of those who would like to come. I've never done one like this, but I have a really good mentor, coach, guide, Thomas Leamy, who is going to put me into the best place because I'm human and I need support. And when I called for support, this room showed up for me. And I love all of you for being able to. I mean, people just started emailing me. It was crazy. And Thomas was number one, first one in. So Thomas and I are going to have a conversation next week. And I'm very excited about it. And we'll close the physical year. We'll close the year, but the official closing of the first year of Kind Mind Community will be with Elsie and a social engagement in the new year for everybody to come and chat and meet each other in breakouts. But for this day, I send love, I send light, and I hold all of you in my heart as we walk into the Christmas season. And from my house to yours, just love you. Just love you for being here, and thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Wayne, for your love, your kindness, and till next time. I'd love it if everybody opens up their mics and waves goodbye, or turn on your camera, or send your love out, whatever way you want.
Thanks, Carolina and Wayne and Kelly. This has really been a wonderful session. Thanks.
Oh, I love you so much, and I've been missing you. I've been thinking of you, Marlene. We have some beautiful times sharing, Marlene, and just like I was thinking. Honestly, I was thinking about you recently. So lovely to see you.